This is a video that's going to cover 10 things I love about the DJI Spark. So the first thing is portability. This thing is tiny. What I mean by that is when you compare it against the Mavic, it's going to be weirdly, not actually smaller than the Mavic when the Mavic is folded down. But when you take it out, you don't need to open up the arms or anything. And when the Mavic arms do open, all of a sudden it's a different scope of drone. So what that means is you can put the DJI Spark straight in the pocket. If you wear cargo pants, any kind of pants or trousers that have large pockets, you can just pop this drone straight in there. You can't do that with the Mavic and just whip it out and fly it. You have to open up the arms and everything. So the first thing about it is the portability. Number two is to do with the actual camera itself. 1080p 12 megapixel photo is fine for me and fine for a lot of people, I'm sure. Using this camera, you don't need to go 4K. Quite honestly, this drone is intended for more of entry-level drone user, but the fact that it's 1080p looks great on camera, looks great on post, looks great uploaded. It's really, really nice. Number three is a really cool feature called the shallow focus feature, and that is the ability to take a photograph and to blur out the background and keep the foreground crisp and in focus. So this is a real nice feature when you're at the beach or you're at an area where there's a real nice backdrop. You kind of want it in the shot, but you don't really want it to be forefront. The shallow focus feature is really nice. Number four, intelligent flight mode options. I think DJI had every opportunity. It could have had every opportunity to kind of cheap out with this product and essentially strip it from all intelligent flight modes. But the fact that you have all these flight modes bundled in with the product is just fantastic. It's really cool. Fifth one is gesture mode, and the fact that you can control this drone without a remote control is fantastic. I don't think there hasn't been any other DJI products that you can do this with. DJI just released a new firmware update where you can actually introduce now the video record option, which was missing from the initial release. Before you could take a photograph. Now you can actually take video and move it around and do things with gesture mode. So that's really, really nice, and it's going to be interesting to see how this kind of unpacks and gets more complicated as it goes on. So number six is flying without your actual remote and just using a cell. This is a really cool option. Aside from just using gesture, if you forget your remote control, you can also just use your cell phone. And that's a really cool function to have with this drone. It's what I do a lot of the time, is just take the actual Spark out and I'll just use my own phone, because my phone's with me all the time and it's one less thing to carry. So another thing that I really like about this drone is the sports mode. Just like with a lot of the other DJI drone products, you can flip them from normal to sport mode, and this Spark has the option to do sport as well. So you can fly it around and enjoy it in that mode if that's something you want to do. The fact that the drone is just compact, like I said originally, it just doesn't make it much of an eyesore or an attraction of attention. You can take this drone out and you can put it up in the air, and people are just going to view it as more of a toy, rather than if they saw the Phantom or they saw the Mavic, they're going to be like, well, that sounds really like a heavy piece of machine in the air, and it looks like a bit of an eyesore as well. With the Spark, it's just so compact and has such a little buzzy sound about it. When it does go in the air, it's not really that obtrusive. So I really like the fact that it doesn't seem that threatening when it's out and about in public. I think people kind of perceive it more of a toy, which I think is more accepting for people in the general public itself. Number nine, the vision detection system. Again, DJI could have just took the cheap road on this and just turned off all sensors and features, forward and down positioning systems. So the fact that it has detection system, below it and in front of it, I think is a really awesome feature for this drone. And the last thing is to do with cell phone use and the actual range, or the range of the remote, if you decided to get the combo pack or just buy the remote itself at $150 USD. you know, the fact that just flying with the cell phone alone, I was able to get at least 75 meters, which I think is great. You know, you can get up to 80 meters. It says you can go up to 100 at a certain point. But you know, the fact that you can get that distance with a phone, for me, I'm a short drone operator. I'm not really interested in flying 4 miles overseas chasing cruise liners. I want to keep that drone real close to me and see what's going on there. So the fact that I can do that with a cell phone is fantastic, and you can upgrade to the remote and you can get 1.2 miles, and you know, 1.2 miles doesn't sound a lot, but when you actually see it laid out, trying to keep an LOS on that little drone in the distance is going to be real tough. So you know, that's my 10th and final love for the Spark, the fact that you've got great range, whether it's remote or whether it's through cell phone use. Hope this video is some use. I'd love to hear your comments and see them below. Thank you.